This is our segment, and we're showing our first hardware, which is a Eurorack module called CVilization. And this is a prototype, and what it currently is it's a 4-in-4 matrix mixer. It can do other things, but this is the current idea. So you got 4 inputs, 4 outputs. They are all 96 kilohertz and 24-bit and plus minus 10 volts. So they're very wide range for Eurorack, for digital module anyway. And with these endless encoders, you can mute any input or you can mute any output. And you can, for instance, say, if you take the normal mixer idea, you want to put any of the 4 inputs into the blue output. You press here, and then you mix the 4 inputs into the blue output. You go back. You can say, for instance, also say you want the green input distributed on any of the 4 outputs. You click there and do that. Right? So that's the main functionality, to mix any of the 4 inputs to any of the 4 outputs in any way you want, and also have mutes as performance means. And then additionally, you can quantize the output. So you can use it like for CV per octave, volt per octave oscillators, and you press run here, and then you can choose different scales which are color coded at the moment. We're working on better feedback where okay, there you go. Where each output can have its own scale. We do not have user scales yet, but we might figure something out. And you can sample and hold any input, any output, because we got 2 CV inputs which work as clocks for the sample and hold. This is the first one, the second one, or if nothing's selected, then there's no sample and hold. Additionally, after the sample and hold, we also have a glide. But yeah, that's pretty long at the moment, so I won't show that. Yeah, that's basically the core functionality of this mode. I can show a schematic maybe. This is what the module is supposed to look like when it's finished. And this is my cheat sheet. And this is what the module in the first mode does. Like the 4-in-4 matrix mixer, a quantizer with a scale and a transpose for each output. And each output can be have a dual and a sample and hold from either trigger input, and additionally each output can have its own glide.
What was now the idea of this module, of this first UV module?
Well, the idea is to make well, it's a little bit like having something in a small space that offers a lot of functionality, but is not as difficult to use as some other modules where you switch between things and the knobs are suddenly on the wrong position. And
because often these modules are complicated to use because there are many features on the small faceplate.
Yeah, and this I think will be relatively easy to use, because we can give a lot of feedback, like this blinks, so you know this is the active input, or this blinks, it's the active output that you're working on. And then with the scales, and actually with editing something, we show this on all 8 encoders, because you usually have the hand in front of it, right? And when you get a maximum, it just briefly blinks, you know, that kind of stuff. And I have been using this for a week now, and I personally, and because of the developer of course also, but I personally find it relatively easy to use. And I can use it in a live performance. And what's not working right now, but it will work, is that we'll have 8 presets. So here's the mode button. You hold the mode button, you can load any of the 8 presets, or you hold the mode button, you long press one of these, then you save a preset, except for the last one. The last one will be an init preset with a standard configuration.
So we'll add some functionalities where you are known as software developer.
Yeah.
Presets and
yes,
to bring
of course.
this to the modular world.
Kind of, yeah. So we think of it as a platform where we can do more ideas, and we'll have more modes. Like the second mode, which doesn't work yet because it's a prototype, is going to be a 4x4 sequential switch, which lets you sequence the inputs to the outputs like in 8 steps each. So you can have a different sequence of inputs on the green output as on the yellow or the blue and the mauve. And you can actually also attenuate the inputs and outputs, and you can also create gate signals or random values and all that kind of stuff. And we figured out a way to use it that's relatively easy, we hope. But we have to experiment with that. And then there'll be a dual ADSR envelope where you can modulate each stage by the inputs, and a quad mode where you, for each input-output pair, you can say you want an envelope or a random source or a quantizer or an LFO, so that you have got different options there. And this is either for people who just start out with modular, who need a lot of functionality just in one module, or it's for people who have mobile setups who don't have the space to put like huge matrix mixers and stuff into it. And if you've seen the videos that we do, I really enjoy tweaking live, and so each mode will always have a performance page like this, where it's mostly the mutes, and there will be transpose as well. And then by clicking, you edit something in the depth, and you click again, you're back in the performance page. And yeah, that's about it.
And you said it's also sample and hold generator.
Yeah, it does have sample and hold.
Is this more that classical sample and hold, or it's more an advanced one?
It's a very classical sample and hold. You get a trigger signal, it freezes until the next trigger signal. We are thinking about other modes like, what's the other one called? Track mode, right? Yeah, and or track and hold, that's what it is. But it's not yet set in stone. We have to see where we go with the firmware first. And what's important about it is it's got a range of plus minus 10 volts. It's DC coupled. You can process audio because it's 24 bits and 96 kilohertz on the inputs and outputs. And so this is a very, very high specs. And as an oscillator controller or whatever, it's not just 5 octaves, it's like a really, really broad range.
And so this is your first Eurorack module now?
This is
do you plan maybe for further modules, or do you see this now as platform to see how this goes, how the community is?
Well, I do think we want to do more modules, because this is we don't want to put an oscillator in it, let's put it that way, or we don't want to put filters or synth voices into it, because the user interface is made for the 4 inputs, 4 outputs, and this is where we continue. For other ideas that we have for modules, we'll make new modules, and I hope. It depends on how this works out.
Do you think it will be more in this direction like this, more digital as a software developer, or do you want to all analog stuff?
I'm open for anything. I have also designed a couple of ideas for strictly analog modules, but it's convenient for us to start with digital because this is what we know. And because we have this one module, we can try everything for other modules on it first before we actually do a final design for the module.
Are there already plans when do you want to release it?
Well, we wanted to release it today, but that hasn't worked out because hardware is new for us and there are delivery times and that kind of stuff. And so we think the first production run will be in August and we'll probably hit shops in October latest.
Price?
We say around about 270 euros including VAT. So we're trying to bring it down as close to 200 as we can. And we try not at all to go beyond 300 for it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.